Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Marquette, and we're so glad you're with us to Stay Curious today. Look at these lovely ladies I have with us on Stay Curious today. This is the Porter family. Within the center, Delora Porter, welcome, and your two daughters. Left, Pam's over here, and Angela's over there. But really, we're here to talk to Mom. How you doing, Delora?
I'm doing just fine.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you here. You and your husband own the famous Ramon's restaurant,
Yeah.
Ramon's restaurant in Cocoa Beach. And, does it seem that long ago?
Well, no, not really.
Okay. Well, we're going to hear some good stories of who they serve food to and who, a little bit about the history. They had two locations, as many of you that familiarize with Ramon's. There's one of them on our green screen. Okay. And where exactly is that located, Delora?
It's Cocoa Beach on
Okay.
I-20 Causeway, about a block from Atlantic Boulevard.
Okay. Marty's walking around here. I'm going to do that for you, Marty. We'll get our microphones a little bit closer there to Angie.
Get it closer to Delora.
Okay. Get closer to Delora there. There we go.
Okay.
And we're grateful for having two microphones to do this by the UCAC brothers. Thank you guys for doing that. We got 4 people on our set here. And Stay Curious is always a great challenge because you want good programming out there. We've been trying to put together these ladies about this restaurant. You'll know why if you've been to our museum, because we've got one of their artifacts in here. A restaurant that has a famous space artifact? Well, stay curious about that, folks. So where was this located, Pam? Right now in the physical part of Cocoa Beach. What's there now?
The dinosaur store and the Irish
Nolan's
restaurant.
Okay, so it's right there at the intersection of A1A and 520.
Correct.
In the dinosaur stores, a good friend of the American Space Museum. They're in our museums at Brevard. And so that's interesting. So anyway, before we get rolling with the Ramon's restaurant here and have some fun, and yes, you're going to hear about that delicious Caesar salad that I've heard about a lot, okay, and what made it so good. We're going to thank the Hyatt Place Hotel for sponsoring Stay Curious here in the American Space Museum. We are having an event Sunday that is called the Base to Space. It celebrates the Mobile Launch Platform 2 being destroyed and taken to the scrapyard. Very historic piece of behind-the-scenes piece of our moon program as well as the shuttle program. This base hauled out Saturn V rockets to the pads as well as shuttles, including the fateful Challenger one. The American Space Museum and well-known documentary team of David Barnes and Mike Cotton are producing this documentary Sunday, September 25th, 2 to 4 at the Hyatt Place Hotel. It's $25. And we have it on Facebook, on our Facebook events, and I'll pin it to the top of the page after today's show where to get your tickets. $30 at the door. We have 100 seats available. All the profits will be going to the American Space Museum. So we stand to make $2,000 or $3,000, folks, if you come out and support this meeting, this documentary. All thanks to Mike Cotton, and we're getting some ticket sales, and that's good. Astronaut Bruce Melnick will be there. And he flew on 2 shuttles orbiters that were launched off Mobile Launch Platform 2. So look forward to a good Sunday and a good event for a good cause at the Hyatt Place Hotel. Well, enough of the promotion. Let's look at the beach there. Yeah, Marty, put us on the beach there. There's Cocoa Beach on a card. I suppose that's the early 60s, huh?
I think 62, they've said.
Right. And how it's changed, right,
Oh my God.
Delora?
Yeah.
What do you remember about the good old days?
Well, I got a lot of memories about I wish I'd go back to the good old days.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing,
They said that in the 1850s, too, probably.
Right. That's like I remember it was only a 2-lane highway from Cocoa Beach to
Mm-hmm.
and people get off work they have to be in line with the traffic. They couldn't go nowhere. So that's when they started what they call happy hour.
Right.
From like 4 to 7. All the bars had happy hour, and that's how that started. And so,
Really? I
Yeah.
think about the old days, and people forget living here now that the bridges were drawbridges.
oh yeah,
And so you just didn't say, I'll see you in a half hour. Maybe if the bridge,
yeah,
maybe if the bridge was
they like and
up, so it'd take them longer to get there.
Cocoa, that was drawbridge for years till they.
Huh. Well, the final drawbridge on 405 is being finally rebuilt for a causeway to go into Kennedy Space Center in there.
Yeah.
And well, here is one of the other place, the green screen behind us here is the Ramones, the first. I'm going to get rid of that. Tell us about how the story of the Ramones came into your hands. This was built in 1956 by a gentleman who never opened it.
Right.
I'm reading here a Milt Salmon. We'll talk about Milt, the good old days of newspaper columnists. They never opened it. They sold it to Don and Eileen Holt. And you and your husband, Ronnie, bought it in 1975.
Right.
So,
Well, Manelli was his name, and he was a contractor and builder in Cocoa Beach, and he had a brother named Ramon, and Ramon wanted a restaurant, so he built Ramon's, and they started having it, like furnishing, getting it ready to open, and they had it all ready to open in about a week. Ramon died.
Oh, wow.
And so Manelli, he sold it after that, and Mr. and Mrs. Holt bought it.
So they had it during the 60s.
Oh,
You
yeah.
and your husband, Ronnie, we'll see a picture of him here in a minute, had it. So you already had a pretty good built-in clientele.
Oh, yeah. Well, we both started working there in 1962
Okay.
and 63.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So you worked for the whole.
Yeah. Yeah, Ronnie worked for the Mr. Holt. Yeah, I think it was a Cocoa Motel. He leased that dining room out and the bar and everything. That's where my husband started for Mr. Holt. And
Well, we're enjoying Delora Butler here, Delora Porter here. Okay, Angela Butler's on her left, daughter, and Pam is over here. Pam West, and we've been talking about this for a couple months actually. And we're so glad to get it together. I got to lower my voice because I'm yelling, and that's good. But Delora is 90 years old. God bless you. You're doing great. You look great. But folks, here is a nanogenarian. Is that what 90s is? No, octogenarian.
a lucky.
Lucky there you go. That's great, and I did want to get that out there because it's a wonderful landmark to make, and I told you we have the voice of NASA, Mr. Hugh Harris, on here.
Yeah.
You said that you fed Jack
Oh,
King.
yeah, Jack King. He was in all the time.
He was the Apollo voice of NASA.
Yes,
in there.
Him and his family.
Who else do you remember that came in a lot?
Oh my gosh! Right now I can't think.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about a couple of them as we go down the road here.
Jog my memory.
Yeah, but here we have I threw a Ramones. A lot of people don't even know what matchbooks are anymore, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Oh.
but there's a matchbook with the glass bank on it. Ramones
Yeah.
at the top there.
Uh-huh.
Ramones was called. It was the social center of the Western world's assault on space. Is how Ramones was called sometimes by all the famous people that would go there. The contractors, the workers like Marty, astronauts, and the NASA big shots would all come to your restaurant, right?
Oh yeah.
What would I order if I came there? What was one of your specialty entrees?
Oh, the prime rib.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what we were famous for. Prime rib and Caesar salad.
Okay, prime rib Caesar salad.
And
Did you have Italian menu too, or no?
no, no,
Okay.
it was mostly
No eggplant parmesan
No.
or
no.
hamburgers and steak and
At lunch, yeah.
yeah.
And it was mostly steaks, prime rib, seafood.
Well, here's another. There's your husband, Ronnie. Okay, he's been gone a little while, has he? But I forgot to ask you there. And he looks like a real chef there, I'll tell you. In there, what did he like to cook the best?
Oh, everything, I think. Right?
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Angie, tell us a little bit about your dad.
Well, I think he was, and he started so many things that this area didn't have, like the calendar of events for the restaurant. We started that. I think he was one of the first ones to start insurance for the hotel and entertainment people in this area. So he really kept up with the times, and he would handle ABC, NBC, and CBS. We catered to the press site. We were the official caterers out there during the shuttle launches. So
A real entrepreneur, just not a,
Yes, he
a
was.
chef
Yeah.
in there. And so those are the type of people that have built our community here that you can be proud of, Pam, about your dad. It's sounds
There
like
were 5 generations of restaurants.
Yeah.
So me and my sister, we went different ways.
yeah.
His grandmother started the first restaurant for the family, the Porter family, in Albany, Illinois. And they had quite a few restaurants in Illinois.
wow.
And then when he joined the Air Force, he was a cook. So that's what he did when he's in the Air Force. So.
Pam, what were some of the other restaurants as you were growing up around here that people would know that were part of the Space Coast
Well,
moon race?
the Mousetrap,
The Mousetrap?
Gatsby's,
Surf.
Surf.
Surf was the first.
the Surf.
Bernard Surf.
Yeah.
I'm thinking things like Pillow Fort. A little bit younger.
Yes, right. Bernard Surf, very famous place. It's
Oh, yeah.
torn down. It's still a
Yeah.
vacant lot there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of sad? Do we
it
see
is.
that?
It is, yeah.
They were supposed to put a condo there, I thought.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Well, money.
Yeah.
Whatever they put there is going to cost a lot of money.
Right.
Right there at Cocoa Beach, just a 100 yards from the surf over there. Well, we're going to look at a couple of pictures here. Here was the other establishment. There's the inside. All right. And folks, you see what are we looking at there with the writing on the wood?
Well, let's see. That long plaque, that's original 7 astronauts. And then on the left, as you come in, is the shots they put up. And
So, but you honored the astronauts is what we talk about here when you see the artifact from your restaurant we have here. And we love talking about how, you really honored the astronauts and their flights and everything, and like no other restaurant, it appears.
I think we had something every launch. Somebody brought us in some kind
Right.
of plaque
Yeah.
every launch, as long while we had it. Yeah.
And you guys had it in the shuttle between the end of the Apollo and the shuttle era in there.
And we had a lot of pre-launch dinners upstairs. We had an outside entrance, private, where they didn't have to come through the dining room. They'd come up the private entrance, and we'd have dinners for them.
Interesting, yeah.
And we did a lot of catering out at the Space Center.
Catering had to be a different ball of wax, so to speak, than
Well, my
today.
husband, he loved catering.
Yeah.
He'd cater on the moon if he got there.
Oh, we're good.
I mean, but that was one of his favorite.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
three major networks, I think he told me
yeah.
that they had to have hot food for,
CNN, ABC, CBS, I think.
Well, those were the only stations then.
back then.
You've
That was
met
it.
John Zarella a few times, friend of our museum, I'll bet, of CNN reporter John Zarella.
Yeah.
They have a restaurant in Cape Canaveral, Zarella's. His son does down there. Zachary's was around a while back then, too, right?
It's called Camelot.
It was called Camelot back then?
Yeah, when we used to.
Okay.
At that, yeah.
Well, you can tell some tales there. Camelot.
The party scene
Yeah.
would go to Camelot at 2 a.m. and
Oh, I
have
see.
breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, there you go. I'm used to. Yeah, you shut down the bar and then you go to
That's
breakfast
it.
at Denny's.
when
something
we
like
could
that.
stay up that
back
late.
in the day. Yeah, few of you remember those days out there. Well, here is the Glass Bank.
Oh yeah.
Very famous. We'll see some other pictures of it. But tell us about your Rainbow Room. Was your second site there?
It was more of a like entertainment. Like special entertainment, like Frank Sinatra Jr. He came in one.
Really?
Yeah. He autographed a menu for the girls. Gave it to Ronnie, and I was trying to think of I don't know. I think I was on vacation or something. But we used to have private lunches up there, pre-lunch lunches, and they had an entertainment every night, and it only had one elevator, I think, that on the outside there to get up there.
So you had this place, and you had then this place, and then your boys here that you had, the Ramones there, Joey, Dee Dee, Johnny, and Tommy there.
Yeah.
That's not your boys. Is it?
Oh, that's not my voice.
But Dad did.
Not that we know of.
Dad did want a son, though.
Dad wanted to say, that's
He did.
Ramones
He let
punk
us know
rock
that.
band out of New York,
Yeah.
and a play on
The
their
Ramones.
name because I asked you, you are Ramons, and I thought people might call you Ramons, but you said people called you.
Raymond's and
The Ramones.
But they got it right up there. Well, in our museum, I was saying that we have an artifact out of your museum, and this is it. There's Delora in front of it. We apologize, we misspelled your name, Dolores. It's Delora Bernice.
That's okay.
And tell us what you got there. What are you showing off that we love to show off in our Mercury Gemini room?
I don't know.
Well, the plaque there.
Oh, plaque? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the main. I don't know. They'd come in, have a shot. They'd come in, put them up. But we.
Yeah, that was the Gemini days when
Yeah,
you guys were
Gemini.
working there.
Gemini.
Delora or Angie, you remember? Tell us some details about that.
about the sign.
Yeah, there's more to it than what you
yeah,
think.
I know the gentleman who made them was George Stamaticus. And
Domatica?
Stamaticus.
Oh, Stomatica.
And he had a sign company in Cocoa. He's passed away, but I don't think we paid for them. I think somebody else.
Yeah, they just brought us.
Yeah, they brought the signs to us, and
Yeah, put 'em
they
up.
were donated to us. I think it's in one of the articles how we got them. I can't remember exactly.
What diners remember most are the handsome wood plaques in the restaurant section honoring Mercury and Gemini Apollo astronauts. The companies that put up the signs on the north wall took them, is what Holt said. That they don't know what happened to them.
Yeah.
Well, we ended up with one of them, and there was some special paint on them.
Gold leaf.
Yeah. Gold leaf.
Gold leaf, yeah.
Gold leaf.
Yeah.
And on this original one, where they misspelled Neil Armstrong, they have Neal on there. But that was one of the original ones. We have two replicas. We've got a Mercury replica and an Apollo replica. At least I think it's a replica, but it is kind of. Did you look at that Apollo one? It
I don't know
got
if I
kind of
looked at
worn on a couple of the spots
Yeah,
there.
I can tell. Every sign painter, because those were hand done.
You're right.
They weren't. There wasn't digital back then.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, every sign painter has their own like signature style and everything. And when I did the 360, I could tell the difference because I worked in the sign industry for 20 years after the
Oh,
restaurant
sweet,
closed.
yeah.
So that's how I could tell.
Yeah.
So
And her 360 is on our website. We have a 360 view of the whole museum here. We did right in the middle of COVID. Did you enjoy that?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was fantastic. I could really
I'm gonna
see everything, and then to come in and see it was really interesting because I was telling the lady out there, you don't see a lot of the individual plaques and things that you do on the 360.
Uh-huh.
So it was very interesting. I said it'd take 3 days to
Oh wow!
go through everything.
Google our website, AmericanSpaceMuseum.org, and put in the information there. The quickest to find is the virtual tour. on there. Yeah, it is quite neat, and we replaced the floors since then. That's what I keep looking at. Is the floors were about shot when we did that, and we're grateful we have new floors in there. But there's another picture of you close up with those, and we love those. I told you when we were walking around the museum, that's one of my favorite artifacts because it demonstrates the Mercury program. The Gemini program was almost every other month for 2 years. We launched 10 Gemini spacecraft with 2 men. That taught us everything we need to know about going to the moon. And most importantly, we could live 7 months in space.
Yeah.
And it's just one of our cherished items here. So every day we're talking about Ramon's restaurant there. And mention that Caesar salad you're going to find out here in a minute about. There's another matchbook cover. Fun to run across those. The Toast of the Coast.
Toast of the Coast.
Was that your hook there,
Yep.
Pam? Everybody said the Toast of the Coast?
Yes. I don't know who came up with it though.
I don't know, but it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is there. Marty's giving me a note. Let's see. He's Dave Stange. Hey, Dave, thanks for coming. He was wanting to know if any of your meals were ever smuggled on a space flight.
not that we know of.
Now that
But if Dad could have, he would have.
Yeah.
They
The-
partied at Ramon's. 'Cause that was in the astronaut
Wives movie.
movie. They actually said, "Oh, well, there's a party at Ramon's later on."
Shepard is talking to another astronaut and says there's a party at
in
Ramon's
the movie
tonight.
The Astronaut Wives?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you should be in more space history like that. The corned beef sandwich that was smuggled by Gemini 3. Marty, that came from the Holiday Inn Wolfies, right?
Oh, wow.
Wolfies?
Yeah, Wolfies.
Yeah,
I
I remember
remember
Wolfie.
Remember Wolfies?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's
It
what
was
Dave
good.
was just
Yeah.
thinking about.
Yeah, Dave was probably alluding to a lot of space geeks know about that. So maybe someone took some of your dressing up to spice up something up there. And he's not telling you about it there. There again is the glass.
Yeah, the glass
Well,
bank.
and where was this located, Pam? In what structure now, downtown or Delora?
You go ahead.
Oh, in downtown Cocoa Beach, as you get going to Cocoa Beach, the road divides, and as you go to the right, it was there. The glass bank.
What would be there now, Pam?
It's
They tore
vacant.
it- They
It's
tore it
vacant.
down. I don't know what.
Oh yeah,
It's
they tore it
vacant.
down.
Yeah, what a iconic, huh, Marty? Everybody remembers that, I'm sure.
That's a big landmark.
Didn't you see it documented?
Well, yeah. See, Dad used to take Pam and I when we were little up there. Everything used to be closed on Sundays, so Dad took us up there on Sundays, and we had free roam of the place. We could play on the drums, the piano, make kitty cocktails, do anything we wanted.
Oh, wow.
And he would say, "Look at this elevator. Look at this." And I could never understand why he made a big deal about the elevator. It was because the building was not originally built with that elevator. Ramon's added it to have an express elevator up to the restaurant. And I found that out from Lori Walters. I did not know that. But that's why he made such a big deal about that glass elevator. And I was terrified because glass
Marty,
elevators...
highlight that outside the building.
Yeah.
there. You just don't see it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's like
glass. It was all glass. Now, can you imagine in the 60s having a glass elevator?
Yeah.
I was terrified.
Well, that's a
It's
unique
going up
building.
3 floors. But
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, and it had a mezzanine.
There.
Mezzanine.
Just trying to.
Or they would have parties.
All
and
right, that's
everything.
it's right above that palm tree in the center there, right above my head. Right above my head, that is an elevator right
Yep.
there
Yeah,
to
right
go
there.
up to there. I see it
Right,
now.
yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
So
So
your
that
dad
wasn't
put the
original.
bill for that, so you could go right. Could you enter it outside, or did you have to go inside the building?
Outside, you
Outside.
could go express right up to the restaurant.
Huh?
Because the inside was the bottom was a bank, and I think there was other offices in the middle, and the only elevator was on the inside.
The bank
So
was on the bottom.
They wanted an express elevator that they didn't have to go inside through the other businesses because they would close 9 to 5.
So here's your dad again. I wanted to make sure we had plenty of pictures of him in here, and we got a great story at the end about him and his culinary skills being helpful to the Navy. We'll leave it at that. There's somebody you wanted to single out there.
That was our chef for many, many years, Curly Deloach.
Curly Deloach there, black man in the middle
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
And serving up a buffet or something. He's carving up the prime rib there, probably.
Probably
Or
so.
plate of it.
Uh-huh.
Again, his name?
Curly.
Gurley. You ever run into the family members of him anywhere? In the...
Yeah. When I was really related to, it was like two families mainly in the kitchen at Ramon's.
Frank
They were
Berry
like-
and Deloach. Yeah.
And they were like family to us.
Mhm.
And even today, we see them.
Yeah, yeah.
That's nice. That's good.
Ramon's was a family. The employees still get together.
Yeah.
We didn't have reunions because of COVID.
Uh-huh.
And now that that's at bay, let's say, I think I'd like to start them up again.
Well,
And we would
Yeah.
have them at the surf,
yeah.
usually.
And you have a Facebook page.
Yeah,
That's,
for the
that we pulled some of these
reunions.
pictures off, but people love reminiscing about the,
Yeah,
they had your birthday party on there.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, she doesn't
She
know.
doesn't know.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Again, a beautiful look at this restaurant there. How many tables do you have there?
Oh,
Oh, I don't know.
Well, we had
That's it.
3 dining rooms downstairs and 3
Three dining-
upstairs.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it seated 400 people.
Wow.
That was.
There's a beautiful view.
that's a rainbow room.
The Rainbow Room on
Yeah.
the 3rd
Uh-huh.
floor there, looking
Yeah.
out the Atlantic
Uh-huh.
Ocean.
Yeah.
That's A1A
Hmm.
in the foreground there. What a view. What a
Oh, it
popular...
was. And the tables were. You'd be sitting at the table and the glass was right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you could look down and see what was going
Right. And boats out there and everything back
Yeah.
in the day. And a good place to watch a rocket launch, probably. When you had the
Yeah.
on.
shuttle launches starting in 81, you had owned it till 85. What was that like, those early days of the shuttle?
It was amazing to see all the news personalities. Chris Wallace, Nichelle Nicholas, Lieutenant O'Hara, Scotty came in, James Doohan, John Denver,
Oh, John Denver, that interests
Yeah.
me.
and Walter Cronkite. Mom waited on him all the time.
We'll see a picture of that here in a minute.
And the astronauts would come in too. I mean, Alan Shepard, Deke Slayton would come in on Friday nights and go through the lounge. And our lounge, I hate to say it, was so packed. And back then you could smoke. It was hard to see.
Yeah, back then you could smoke. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to see
yeah.
in there.
See who was
It's
who.
smoking up.
Everybody was smoking.
Yeah, everyone was smoking and
Yeah.
clothes and everything, go home and smell
Yeah.
like smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, the younger generation doesn't know anything about that. The smoking was a common thing. We talk about in our Cape Canaveral gallery that the desk there, you'd throw your keys and your wallet, probably a couple packs of cigarettes in there for the day. Yeah, Marty.
Bill Dana was in Cocoa Beach area quite a bit. Was he at Ramon's?
Who?
Bill Dana?
Bill Dana, the comedian.
I
Was he-
remember Dad talking about that. I think when he did come in, yes, I was too young. It was like a personality would come in, like he said, door stays in the lounge. I'd go, can I go get an autograph, please, Daddy? He would never let us bother them to get autographs. That he had a policy about that. I think some of them kind of slipped on that.
Yeah.
But yes, I do remember him saying that.
Well, your dad was smart about that because you're at you're serving these people and yeah, I've seen that asking for autographs and people aren't working there anymore because that's not what you're
Yeah.
there for. But then somehow you'll get an autograph because they'll volunteer it. So
Yeah.
and they know how nice you are to them and all that. So, what other famous people come to mind, Pam, that your mom served or?
Peter Jennings.
Peter
Yeah.
Jennings.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that, or
Yeah,
either
she-
too young or I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
moved away by then.
There's one of your restaurant food ideas on there. You had ham croquette. What other things are there, Marty? I'm having a hard time reading that.
Crab cakes.
Yeah, crab cake. Yeah, crab cake.
I never knew Dad made crab cakes.
What were some of the popular drinks that alcoholic drinks that people
Oh,
get?
the one that you set on fire. I don't know
green,
what.
was it green something?
I forgot what I think it's.
Green weenie or something. I like the pink squirrel and the grasshopper after
Okay.
dinner drinks.
I forget what they call that. That drink, a little.
I know
Some
you're
sort
I
of
remember
a-
that.
Yeah.
Courvoisier
light
that they
it,
flamed
It
up.
burned.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I remember doing that. Yeah.
Well,
Ron would know. But.
I remember I was waiting on tables back when I first started, and at lunchtime somebody came in. They came from California, and he said something about a Harvey Wallbanger.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I haven't seen him. Not knowing it was a drink.
Yes. Yeah.
Now I make a Harvey Wallbanger cake.
Yeah.
Oh wow, do you now?
It's
Yeah.
something.
She's
Grand Marnier or something, isn't it? Yeah, Harvey Wallbanger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
No, you hadn't seen him. That's funny. That's a good.
No, I haven't seen him.
There's your
If I
husband putting
don't-
out some food there. That was in the newspaper there. I
Yeah.
imagine you guys were in the newspaper frequently, huh?
Oh yeah, a Today newspaper. They'd come in and have dinner.
And I hear I've got this to remind us the countdown to the moon with Walter Cronkite about you. Tell us about serving Walter Cronkite.
Well, we're so busy, all I can do is just wait on him bringing his food. He brought his son. His son was with him.
Mm-hmm.
Just the two of them. It was pre-lunch.
Well, he's at all those lunches and so forth.
Very nice.
You said something about when he paid you.
I just did the credit card. Back then we had the machines that you had to slide.
The crunching
Yeah.
machine. Across that, yeah.
I just got to do that. So.
He was on a CBS expense account, so I'm sure he got the best of what he
Yeah.
could get there.
And the published from Time magazine, Time Life.
Uh-huh.
I would always get it backwards, I think. I'd say Time Life, and they'd say No Lifetime or something. They corrected me.
Uh-huh.
I think it's just Life now, isn't it? Time
Yeah,
magazine?
yeah. Time Magazine, Life
Yeah.
Magazine, I guess they merged.
It's not
somewhere
Time
down the
Life
line.
anymore.
But as we look at, that's a good way to segue. Yeah, Marty.
Did Lee Karan go to Ramon's? I'm sure Lee Karan probably did.
We went to his place.
Did you?
Yeah, Dad would take us there for the entertainment aspect
Yeah.
for
What are you talking about?
Lee Karan was a Carnival Club.
Carnival
It was a-
Club.
it was a variety
The-
show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kid Kat, what was the last name?
I have an
Um,
album, the long playing of Lee Karan. But I think this is before he made this album, before he took over the club in Cocoa Beach, because they had a signature song, Old MacDonald's Farm,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not on there,
Yeah.
and
And they dressed up like
Yeah.
it was a
Uh-huh.
big head and
yeah, I love that. I
Well, we're reminiscing here about the good old days at Cocoa Beach with one of the iconic restaurants. Ramon's. We're here with the matriarch of the Ramon legacy in the 70s and 80s. Delora Porter here with her daughter on the left of her. Over there's Angela, and Pam's over here beside me. We love sharing these stories, and when I see a newspaper clip like this one, it sure does bring back old days of this old news town when we had Milt Salmon. And Milt Salmon was a well-known columnist, like all newspapers had. And he was writing about the winding down the saga of Ramon's in one column here. And where he talked about the wood plaques and so forth. But he also wrote a column. Well, I mean, tell us about Milt there. You knew him, I'm sure, and Milt Salmon, the publisher, the news guy. He do a lot of stories about your place, and
Yeah, he wrote, I think it's once a week, he wrote, write up about the restaurants, all the restaurants.
mm-hmm.
And he did write a lot about Ramones.
Well, in 1991, he did a column just on your Caesar salad. So we're going to hear about this. Excitement stirs over Caesar salad. There's a pun for you. And what was known about shocking. Everyone knows a true Caesar salad, like holiday sauce, requires eggs. But we're assured that the long famous Ramon Caesar recipe is eggless,
Yeah.
except for any eggs in its store-bought mayonnaise. Tell us about that. About the recipe.
About the recipe.
Yeah.
Well, it's a long one. I'll tell you. It's got a little bit of everything in it. And,
It says 32 years of operation. Ronnie Porter concocted the salad. My recipe has 28 ingredients. 28 ingredients.
yeah,
And he keeps it a secret.
But we used to go out, we'd go out to the bars and somebody would come up and say, I want the recipe. Oh, I have the recipe to that. And I remember one time this lady was sitting, she said, oh, give me the recipe. He said, well, you start out with 32 gallons of mayonnaise. And that stopped it right there.
Right there. Well, he made it.
And everybody had the recipe.
Everybody does. Yeah.
Oh, I got the recipe.
Okay. Well, did it have a flavor all of its own? What was,
If I tell you
I know you have
what the spice is, yeah, I'd have to kill you.
But that's what made it so desirable,
Yeah.
right? Pam was its taste and
It was different.
It was a good salad to go with prime rib or a steak, I thought.
Chicken.
But and the black onion rolls with their cheese,
Yeah.
the Caesar
Yeah.
salad. So that
No,
was
black onion roll.
Yeah.
Onion pumpernickel.
Oh, really?
Pumpernickel.
The onion
rolls.
pumpernickel rolls, and then we made a cheese dip, cream cheese,
Mhm.
and that was always on the table. When you sit down, it was already there. The
Okay.
cream cheese and the onion, the rolls in the basket, all ready to eat.
they would come in just for we called it a king Caesar, right? A really big
Mhm.
bowl of Caesar
Yep.
salad, and they would just have Caesar salad and usually like onion soup,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
then the rolls they'd fill up with that. So.
How was it dealing with your purveyors back in the day there? Did you have some loyalty to certain vegetable producers and so forth that you remember?
Purveyors?
Purveyors, yeah.
Your food supply.
Yeah, I know.
Today it's a nightmare for restaurants. It's an absolute nightmare. I was at a restaurant today. Their chicken wholesale prices doubled over the last month. Doubled.
Yeah. Oh, I
Okay.
know.
And then you look at what you're charging for at the menu, and so it was a happier time, I'm sure. And
Oh, yeah, that one menu has prime rib for $3.95.
wow,
I mean, with everything from drink to dessert
for
for
$3.95
$3.95.
back in the early '70s. Yeah,
I can't think of the purveyors now, but
that doesn't buy the iced tea $3.95, does it?
Right.
$2.95, I guess, for the iced tea.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
I that's my way of asking. Did you have some friends that you were fond of that supplied your food, or
Oh yeah.
was it in
The
your
bakery.
family and
oh yeah,
so forth like that?
Yeah.
The onion rolls were made by Eli's Bakery.
Across the
And-
street.
He's not here anymore, and I've tried to find
And,
something similar, and
Hmm.
I can't find it.
So there's a lot of old recipes out there
Yeah.
lost, and that somebody smart could bring back here on this Space
yeah.
Coast. Huh? If they were a lot younger and had a lot more money, we'd do it right. Well, the excitement over the Caesar salad, I wish I could taste it. He made 30 gallons a week, it seems. This mentions here. So
I don't know how many crates of romaine lettuce we go through.
right, yeah. Oh, that was the kind. I'm thinking iceberg lettuce.
No,
Put it on
oh,
romaine.
no.
In romaine, and there was a farmer up in New Smyrna that grew it. I think it was around January and February that
Mhm.
that we buy it from him when he had it grown. But most of the time, everything comes from Orlando or Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Okay.
Bears.
Yeah, so it was local produce here,
Oh,
so
yeah.
forth. I mean,
Good.
those were the days when Florida was really a peninsula. Okay, there's only one way in, one way out. Before all the people flying stuff in all the time. Well, we're enjoying a wonderful conversation here with the Ramones, owners of this beautiful restaurant. Delora Bernice Porter. They called you Bernice for a while, I guess, in there. And we got Angie Butler here and Pam West, the daughters. there's a picture of you at the public library. What's
Yeah.
going on there?
Well, we went down there yesterday. I knew it when that pack was there,
Uh-huh.
but I really enjoyed just, I don't know how to say it.
Brings back the memories.
Yeah. Well, that's at the Cocoa Beach Library.
Uh-huh.
And that was in your restaurant.
Yeah.
And just like our
That's
museum.
the one, the rich, as you come in, Ramon
Uh-huh.
said, you look up at
That was what we
the seven.
Oh, that's cool. We had a special menu for a special astronomy observatory launched in the 70s, the High Energy Astronomy Observatory, and you thought you weren't going to get any astronomy on Stay Curious today, because that's what my expertise is. But what a fancy little menu you had here. Tell us about how this came about.
Is that the peacock?
No,
No.
that's not the peacock. That's a different one for
This is the
The
Heo. This was the cover, and you had an astronomy menu, a celestial menu there.
it was like for a Boeing party, or I can't remember.
And I'm going to get up here and look at that up close there, Marty. That a celestial menu in celebration of the launch of the High Energy Astronomy Observatory, August 12, 1977. You've got high energy cocktails, quasar shrimp and crab, nebula claws. You have your Caesar salad, Taurus, beef, Wellington, and so on. We often requested to have themes like this on a.
Yeah.
And who were some of the contractors you served with? That you mentioned Boeing.
Boeing, General Dynamics, and each company, a lot of them would have parties or luncheons once a month, right?
Yeah.
At the restaurant.
I don't remember that too good.
Boeing.
Upstairs is where we did a lot of that.
Yeah.
Those
Oh, yeah, we have luncheons.
Luncheons for them.
I don't remember.
This
Well,
one,
that's okay, but this is a special menu
Yeah.
we wanted to point out that
We
you
had
do
some
special
things.
events there.
Yeah, we used to cater out to Dr. Davis's executive dining room.
Oh, the iconic director of the Kennedy Space Center.
Yeah, him and his wife,
Kurt
they
Davis.
came in Ramon's a lot, and we did that. And King Hussein,
King Hussein of Jordan.
I waited on him.
Did you?
He was there at Dr. Davis's.
Huh. Were there people like Davis would come in and the waitresses would already go over with their cocktail or something? Did you have any clientele like that you knew what they wanted?
Yeah, quite a
And you just
few.
took it over there? Yeah, those days are long gone. aren't they? Yeah, because everybody's got so many choices and.
And a lot of our customers had like reserved seats, like George
every Friday night, every
George
Saturday
Burgess
night,
had
yeah.
a booth, and so certain of our customers had a place that they sat all the time. Actually, didn't George Perkins actually have a plaque at his?
I think he did.
George who?
Perkins.
He was the mayor of
Oh, yeah.
Cape Canaveral at one time.
George Firkins, Mayor of Cape Canaveral. He had his own
Booth.
chair. Own
Yeah,
booth.
his own booth in the front dining room.
Fran Jameson.
Fran
Jameson.
Jameson would come in.
She was our attorney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fran Jameson Way in Vieira
Oh,
at the
yeah.
courthouse.
Okay.
Named after, yeah.
Grand Jim, all right. I wondered
My dad
about
would
that.
sing happy birthday to her every year. And she probably didn't want him to sing happy birthday
Is that right?
to her every year. But he did.
But he did. I'll bet that you probably had a lot of birthday cakes every day in the place, huh?
We actually used to give free little
Birthday cakes.
We had a lot of food that you got with your dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, coleslaw,
That was
cheese
free.
dip, and
Uh-huh.
a basket of rolls, and now that was free.
Yeah.
You know, so you wouldn't find
And
that.
your dip on the
Oh,
table.
Hot cheese rolls. It was made out
Oh,
of like cheese whiz.
All it was
and
was
Yeah.
bread and
Rolls.
cheese
Yeah.
with a toothpick and
And
fried.
they were fried. They loved
Fried
it.
bread and cheese. What's
Advertised
better?
Cheese rolls. We made
Cheese
them
rolls.
ourselves.
Huh.
Yep.
What a lot of fun. What a lot of fun. We got one, we're going to show you this picture of, I really wasn't sure where this was till Marty told me.
Patrick, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, Patrick Air Force Base.
Uh-huh.
That black rocket on the left is a Beaumark, one of my favorites of the All these rockets were built to defend our country against the Red Menace. Right? We all remember that. A lot of people don't remember, but us baby boomers do, and what a serious threat that was to our nation. Yeah, I've never seen that picture before of Patrick Air Force Base. Wonder what happened to all those rockets there.
Took them down.
They took them down.
Down.
Well, we've got one final story that we'd love for Delora to share pertaining to her husband and a submarine. Now, how does a chef and a submarine come together? So tell us that story.
Well, I guess what you call him, the captain of the submarine.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he came in Ramon's and ate quite a few times. Then he approached Ronnie. He said, "Can I send some of my, what do you call them?
Cooks.
Cookies on cooks on the.
He said, Can they come down here and you teach them how to cook?" He says, "Our food is awful on the sub."
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think it'd be at least two of them come in about every night. They were just in the kitchen, I guess, looking. I don't know. I never paid no attention to it. And so when they finally, I guess they thought they had enough cooks that could cook, they invited us me and Ronnie out on the sub for dinner and a tour of the submarine. And we went out. They were so nice,
Mm-hmm.
You
remember that experience? Did they dive with you, or did they keep on the surface?
No, it was stationed out.
Docked out there at the NO2, North Atlantic.
I thought that, but I mean, they didn't know how to cook.
Really?
I mean,
The captain said our food's terrible.
I think Ronnie, I don't think he believed him at first.
It was kind of funny. They made you eat it to make sure that he taught him good.
Dad was a cook in the Air Force.
Uh-huh.
but they were, so nice. Gave us the tour and had dinner.
Well, that's a different chef of its own. Someone that knows how to feed a couple hundred people all the time. I mean, that's a quantities thing,
Right.
Like you're saying, 30 gallons of Caesar salad made at a time or whatever. I love people like that can do that. And
I wonder if the cooks were for the officers or the cooks for the enlisted men. You probably don't know.
Yeah.
Probably for the officers.
Yeah.
Well, we hope everyone's enjoyed this nice little visit down memory lane with the Porter family here. We know Dave Stangy's watching up in Michigan. Go Buckeyes. And Keith Souls, a local astronomer, and he teaches at one of the colleges around here. We got Gary Gerald's watching. Carlton Bailey. Hi, Carlton. Hazel Banks. Hope she's enjoying today. Melissa Pope is in the Office of Tourism. It's over there in Cape Canaveral now. We've got Mr. Robert Law. Hello, he's watching in Dundee, Scotland, enjoying his cocktail up there. William Whiting's another Michigander. A lot of Michigan people love Stay Curious. I'm not going to criticize that, being from Ohio. Tom Usiak's watching in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Cynthia Rossi's one of our Diamond followers here on the Space Coast. Christopher Mick is in Wisconsin, and Larry Pusker. Thank you all for staying curious with a very interesting show today, right, Marty?
Yes.
It's always fun to go down memory lane. The Space Coast, Pam and Angie, you grew up here. Comment a little bit about how it's changed and how you see what's going on today with the nonprofits bringing it all back. I mean, the non-government businesses bringing it all back.
Well, you mean like going commercial? The launches?
Yeah, you've got a 50-year perspective here. From being born 50 years ago till now, but how life's changed.
And working at NASA.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, and of course I have a different perspective after I did work out there because I didn't start out there until a lot later. So I was a kid, and pretty young, in the beginning. But I still remember, I remember parades on Cape Canaveral with John F. Kennedy. I do remember the launches and stuff, but I guess I appreciate it a lot more after I did work out there. So
We need more parades.
Yeah.
down Cocoa. Those were fun times, I bet, weren't they?
Yeah, those parades. Yeah.
They were honored.
yeah.
The astronauts were honored.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, and Cocoa Beach is such a special place. We know astronauts spend 80% of their time in Houston
Yeah.
training, but when they come here, it's exciting because they're getting on a rocket, and
Yeah,
it's,
we did a lot of pre-launch.
it's families like you that made them feel like home.
Uh-huh.
I'm
And
sure.
one time we had a pre-launch in Cocoa. It was out on a yacht, and it's hard to describe because we had one yacht where they had their cocktails, and then they shuttled them out in the middle of the river on another yacht. At it'd be about maybe 40 astronauts and whoever, and that one, remember President Nixon's vice president. What was his?
Agnew, Spiro Agnew.
Agnew.
Spiro Agnew.
Spiro Agnew.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Agnew. He was on one of them. I think he played the piano.
Huh.
That's before he got kicked out of.
Yeah. We were kicking them left and right out of office back in that day.
But I said he was really good on the.
Huh.
David was sailing up and down the river, the Indian River.
It's always interesting to be a fly on the wall, or as I say, a mosquito on the museum wall around here. Angela, what kind of memories you have as we
Well,
end our conversation here?
I remember the front lobby of Ramon's. Reporters used to hang out, and Alan Shepard walked in, and Mom was at the hostess stand, and I was right beside her, and I'm going, "This is Alan Shepard." And Alan Shepard started to talk to Mom to make a reservation, and one of the reporters came over from the side and said, "Mr. Shepard, I'm from the New York Examiner." And Alan Shepard turned his head and said, "You have my condolences," and went right back to talking to Mom about the reservation. And I thought, that's way before The Right Stuff. And when the movie The Right Stuff came out, I go, yeah, they got him pretty well. The way he was, yeah.
Alan Shepard is special astronaut here on
Yeah,
the Space
he was.
Coast for sure, right?
I
The
think
park's named after him. He I met his daughter Laura Churchley Shepard. You ever met her?
No,
And she's been in our museum actually, and I'm sure she's eaten at your place. But yeah, she always said it was a fun place for them to come back and so forth. So, well, delightful talking to this family here about their family restaurant. Wish it was still around. Anything that you'd like to say as we conclude our conversation here?
Well, it's been nice.
Yeah.
I like to reminisce.
Well, we're glad you do because everybody loves hearing about it. We celebrated our museum the birth of America's space age, and after you're born, you have to eat. What better place to go than Ramon's to eat, right?
Yeah.
Ladies, you have anything else you'd like to add today? We're so enjoyed having you here. Thank you for taking your time to
We've
come
enjoyed
here.
it.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us.
Yes.
What do you think of our humble museum?
It's wonderful. I said, asked the lady a while ago, I said, I remember when you had it started, that was the first in the mall.
Yes, it is.
Searstown.
Yep, Searstown Mall.
Yeah, I remember when it was in there.
We had Alan Shepard's Corvette in
Corvette,
there
yeah.
for a while. Yeah, in there. So,
They said was it Shepard and somebody else had Corvettes. I think they said they would race into the Space Center.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sure a guy that ate in your place, Ruttman, Joe Ruttman was the Indy 500 winner, and he had a dealership here.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Rathman. Jim
Yeah.
Rathman.
Yeah, Rathman. I say
Yes.
Rathman.
Yeah.
Rathman.
Yeah,
Jim Rathman
Oh,
was
yeah.
an Indy
Yeah.
500 winner, and he parlayed that into a Chevy franchise, and he leased all the astronauts a Corvette for $1 a year.
Yeah.
A pretty smart PR move, right?
Yeah.
And we had one lunch. I don't know. Yeah, I guess their beach house. You always heard about their beach house.
Yes.
And
We catered to the beach house, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
we catered a luncheon at that beach house.
Yeah, that's sacred ground out there. But that's cool that you got to go out there and cater lunches there.
Yeah.
I'd love to see how different catering is 50 years ago, 40 years ago, because they've got it. The warmers and stuff is what I'm talking about. Keeping your food
Yeah.
was a harder process, I think, than today, with all the fancy warming things you have.
Stirring over, right?
Yeah. Well, good. Is there anything you'd love to say to people out there that love our space program like you do?
Well, it was just it's history, and I'm so glad I got to be part of the history of the Space Center or Space Age.
Well, thank you, Delora Porter, and thank you, Angie and Pam, for being here. We might have you back again. We'll maybe do another program one time about some of the famous celebrities or some of the names of the cocktails and so forth. But we hope you all enjoyed this episode of Stay Curious. Marty, thank you for a great Streamlabs show today. Anything we need to do, any house cleaning or anything with our friends watching out there? Okay. Well, we appreciate you all being here. It means a lot to not only the Stay Curious program, but our humble nonprofit museum, that we'd have people share your history, because it is important to keep this history fresh. And an iconic place like Ramon's, like columnist Milt Salmon called it, the Western world's the center, the social center of the Western world's assault on the space race. So we've enjoyed it. Thank you, ladies, for being here. And I'm Mark Marquette, and until tomorrow, I hope to see you again to bridge the space between us.